Hey everybody, Adam Savage here with Dan Lanigan. Hello, my friend. We are standing in some early Marvel goodness here.
Yes, we are. This is the first year of the extended Marvel Cinematic Universe. These two films came out. We've got Thor and Loki from the first Thor film, original costumes, and we've got Captain America from the first
Avenger.
Yeah, the first Avenger.
This is one of... These costumes are amazing. And it's astounding that they're from the first... This is 2011?
Yeah.
Dude, This is so long ago, and these things look like pieces of absolute jewelry.
Yes, they do. They do.
I mean, the Loki costume it's both metallized and paint treatment, but it's like it holds up when you get right up close to it.
It does. The Thor costume, a little less so.
Well, there's, right, the arms are clearly a urethane rubber, and those tend to suffer.
Yeah.
But the front piece looks perfect.
It is. It's in great shape.
And then this is one of my favorite Cap costumes. The first
agree.
I can't even imagine how awful it was for Chris to wear it.
Oh, I can imagine. It was, I mean, it's so heavy and so kind of binding, but it's so perfect for the character.
It really is. It's sort of like the, at each age at which movies ingest and output comic books, this feels to me like, oh, now we're in this age of getting it really, really right.
That's right. I mean, it feels timeless.
Can you talk a little bit about the way this costume relates to the comic books of your youth and how you think about how they did it?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Cap in the comics had a very red, white, and blue costume, but ideally, the way it's been drawn is meant to be a chainmail. And so with Thor, you already they've established that Thor's got this kind of chainmail, scale mail arms. So they want to make it different. So what they switched it to and made it feel very right for the comic and for the character is they made it more like of a parachuter's costume.
Right.
Right. With that parachute material. Yeah, exactly. So it felt armor-esque. But since Cap is such a strong character anyways, he doesn't need armor. He really doesn't need chainmail.
Right.
This Cap is tough, right? He could probably take bullets and bounce off of them, right? So I think that's really interesting about this. And it is my favorite version of Captain America because not only did they get the character right, they got the way he looked right, which I thought was really, really surprising. And that first film, I thought was amazing.
It really was. Chris Evans is also, like, in those early films, almost ludicrously, triangularly shaped, right? He's a human built in forced perspective.
He is.
And all the binding of this costume works towards this thing of like, you can't hold this guy down. No. He's just going to bounce around.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Were you able to? Was this complete when you got it?
Well, yes. So this was originally sold in an auction with a shield.
With a shield,
but this shield,
but not this shield.
This shield, actually, I wind up getting this costume without a shield because I already had the shield. This shield I had gotten previously, and this actually is a screen match shield.
Amazing.
Yes.
When is this match from?
This is matched from the sequence when he is on his way to the Red Skull's facility, and he's on the motorcycle, and it's an insert shot, and Chris Evans is on the motorcycle, and you can clearly see every little detail. Now, they had lots of shields in this film.
Yeah.
Lots of different versions. They had rubber shields, they had plastic or more plastic type material, and then they had the aluminum sponge shields. They also had very similar weathering on them. They must have had patterns that they used, some gobos or something like that. So this one, every little spot of dirt, every little flaw, everything that you would think maybe was organic damage is actually painted on, matched up. So I feel very confident that this was that particular shield. It's the only shot that I see it in the film, but I'm thrilled.
Within your collecting, I really love that these are all from the same year, from two movies that came out the same exact year. This seems like the kind of thing that might happen from time to time is you learn about stuff you love by collecting this part, that part, and then they have a connection to each other.
Absolutely.
It's like in the same way that like I often learn about my aesthetics after I make something. And I ask, why did I make it like that? Oh, wait, I see this, right?
Well, you learn about yourself how you build things. You learn about yourself through your art. You learn about yourself through things that you collect and your interests. That kind of helps define your identity.
These are three actors who are just so magnificent in playing superheroes. My wife and I love talking about Hiddleston specifically because he's got this way of the superhero stance. It's just amazing to watch him move around.
The arrogance that he's able to imbibe to the audience, and at the same time, or expel to the audience, how nice of a guy he seems off camera. He's just a brilliant actor, and Loki is such a tough character, I think, to play because he's such a deep, flawed character that is so important to the bringing together of the Avengers, and I think they did a great job.
They really
and
did.
he did an amazing job.
They ended up with a problem that Loki was such a good villain, they had trouble finding any villains that were good enough to replace him.
Well, Josh Brolin did a good job.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
Yeah.
Did you purposely collect these because they're from that year?
No, I did not, actually. Going back to when I was 7 years old, I became obsessed with the character Thor.
Comic books, okay.
The Marvel comics. And thereby, when Thor was part of the Avengers, I became obsessed with Captain America and Iron Man as well. So I loved the characters, and I've collected Thor action figures and Loki action figures and all different types of Marvel stuff, statues, hot toys, you name it. But since I collect movie props and have for a long time, these pieces were very high on my to-do list to try and find out. And they're not easy to track down, I'll tell you. These costumes have been difficult. This piece came from an auction, but these were private sale.
Were these complete when you bought them?
They were. Wow. Separately. I bought them separately,
right.
But they were complete. Now, the one thing that is unique about this Thor costume is it is a complete Thor costume, but it's not unique from the first Thor. The pants are actually from the Avengers.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Because there was no available pair from the first Thor. So the pants, the color is a little bit different, and there's some details that are different. But it works really well because the boots, the cuirass, the arms, the helmet, it's all from the first film.
It's such a thing to see all the different treatments, right? Because on film, everything just reads as this beautiful metallics and everything. And up close, you can see that there are different materials, but how hard it is to get past the subterfuge.
Yeah.
You were saying off camera that this costume spoke to you specifically.
Yeah, you know what I love about this costume is that it's not the version of Thor that I grew up with in the comics, but the helmet, the discs on his chest, the way the cape flows, the way the billowing, it totally screams to me this Thor, or the Thor from the comics.
Jack Kirby era.
Jack Kirby, and Walt Simonson.
Walt
Simonson. And so specifically, though, the hammer that Thor wields in the first film is very different from the later films. And it's much smaller and more petite, which is very much like the Walt Simonson way he drew it. Jack Kirby, on the other hand, Thor's hammer was much bigger. Really big, where Simonson made it smaller, and then since then it's grown larger, similar to the way they are in the movies.
Really?
Yes. He kind of grows. Mjolnir is like a character. Right. It's not just a weapon. It's like Cap's shield is Cap's shield, but Mjolnir has got a spirit to it.
Amazing. You've collected some Mjolnirs.
I have.
Can we take a look?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dan, only you could show me 4 Mjolnirs on Marion Ravenwood's bar.
Yep, these are my obsessions. Indiana Jones and Thor.
I love this. Okay, I'm assuming left to right is the chronological progression?
It is. Okay. So we have the first Thor.
This is Ken Branagh's version.
That's right.
And it doesn't have any kind of butt on it at all.
No, it has no butt. It's a simple leather handle.
Pommel, let's say.
Yeah, that's right. There's no simple leather handle with painted in.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that was intended to look like steel or just look like detail, but it certainly has passed on to other hammers where they actually use metal.
I have been working currently on a Mjolnir, and I've been working on the handle, and I've been laboring over what it actually looks like. And this is liberating for me because every film is totally different.
It is, really.
That's really surprising to me.
Yeah.
That the art department just is like, okay, new movie, new Mjolnir.
So the head on the first Mjolnir was much smaller as well. So the entire piece was much more similar to the style that Walt Simonson had drawn in the comics.
Right.
So as they went on to the Avengers, Joss Whedon and the Marvel team decided they wanted to make it more impressive. So they decided to enlarge the piece and add a lot more detail to the base, or to the handle and the pommel. But as you'll notice, that pommel is very simple compared to what we see going forward.
Indeed, this is almost like a sort of techno pommel.
Yes, exactly.
And here they've gone to what feels much more like an original sort of Celtic, Viking,
But the head also, not only is it bigger, the runes are much more pronounced.
Yes, they
and
show up.
Some of the details are different. Whereas if you move further down the line, you have a a much more reserved-looking head, and then the pommel itself is much more Viking-inspired, much more Norse mythology-inspired.
This is my Mjolnir for me. This is the one that I always think about. Fat handle, great pommel. And this is all plated metal.
Yes.
You can see the wear from the actors using it. It's really gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Dude, that's crazy.
And it's interesting how these pieces connect. So there's a center core, and then these rings that go down, and between each ring you have a ring of leather, you have a ring of metal, a ring of leather wrapped something, ring of metal, and vice versa as it goes down. And they're loose.
These are just loose.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's just, I love the craftsmanship. And this is Jane's.
This is Jane's. Now, this is the one out of the 4 of these that I have a little bit of question on if it's actually a production-made piece. I believe it is, but it's a little bit more in the wild that I got. Now, but it is, what's interesting about it is they did make the Janes smaller. In fact, they kept making them smaller until they figured out while they were shooting what would work for her. Another thing is in these previous versions of Thor, there is actual leather on the handles.
Yeah.
But they could not do that for Jane because the actress did not want to be touched. She's a vegan, did not want to touch leather. So,
so the handle is urethane.
Yes, it's
not
urethane.
Leather. Oh,
yes.
Wow.
And you can notice it up close, but probably from camera it's not as noticeable. And then the scale is much smaller, even smaller than the first version of Thor's hammer, because it's meant to make her feel bigger in retrospect. So they would have had a bigger version that Chris Hemsworth, when he briefly touches it in that film.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yeah. So because if Chris Hemsworth held this, it would look like a little jewelry box.
Exactly.
Oh, that is fabulous. One of the things that I like the most is the detail on this just disappears.
Yeah.
And again, this is not as much a character in the first film as it is later on. Right. But I much more prefer this kind of the heavier, because it shows up on camera much more.
It does.
Again, also the fact that each one is so different. It's like there's so many online discussions among us replicators about what is the canon, what is the perfect thing. And a display like this just releases me from...
That's right.
It releases my bonds. I can do what I like.
And you can take elements of each one you want. If you want, you do your own version of a cinematic Thor hammer. Or shall we say Mjolnir?
Mjolnir, thank you. And I feel like those kind of things are they're not gestures from the production. Oh, actually, there was one. When it turned out in Mandalorian that the Mandalorians each had their own bespoke costume that they made themselves, I was like, Lucasfilm, you are a genius, because now everyone can make whatever they want, and it's all canon.
Yeah.
I get the same feeling from this, even though that wasn't their intent.
That's right. Well, what I do think is really interesting about Mjolnir is it is a character.
Yeah.
Mjolnir is alive in a lot of ways. It chooses who gets to handle it.
Yes,
right?
it has agency.
It has agency, absolutely.
Right,
absolutely.
It's not just a MacGuffin.
That's right.
You're right. I never thought of it as a character.
Yeah. Especially in the later films, like in the last one, where you know he's actually talking to it, and Stormbreaker for that matter.
I hear Anthony Hopkins in my head going, "What are you, the god of hammers?"
That's right. Yeah.
Wait! Do you have a Stormbreaker?
Well, yes, I do.
Oh, can we look at the Stormbreaker?
Yes. Let's move these pieces over.
Oh.
So. You see the 4 hammers here, and now you see the version yes, you may.
Oh, wow.
Now, this is a heavy rubber head version with a hero handle.
Good God. It's so delicate and beautiful.
Yeah.
You saw it a couple weeks ago in my cave. I have a steel one, and my great plan is it only has 2 pieces of wood that go over the top. I want to replicate to best I can this kind of sculpt. And so I've been looking at pictures of this, but wow, looking at it up close, there's so much beautiful detail.
So on my channel, Cinema Relics Investigates on YouTube, I did a piece on this because when I originally acquired a Stormbreaker, it wasn't this one. Yeah. It was one from a guy who ultimately it was fake, and I was able to prove it. Wow. And it was a real big issue for me. But since then, I actually picked this up in a Marvel auction.
Dude, it is so pretty. Do you have an understanding of how they attach these things? Because I'm assuming it's right around here.
Yes.
But I'd also imagine that there were cores that matched each other.
Yes, there were separate pieces that came together around the head, and and then they blended it together via the paint job, which is on the wood or the artificial wood.
It's so pretty, Dan.
Yeah, I talked to Russell Bobbitt about this piece in particular.
Oh,
he
yeah.
looked at it and he said, "Yeah, that's one of mine," which was cool to hear him say that.
That is super cool to hear that. It didn't occur to me how much it would feel like plant material.
Yeah,
That's the other part of the tactile experience.
yeah. Well, and then this is part Groot as well.
I know. No, that's the best part is that Groot is strong enough to hold on to it, right? That there's something about his purity. It's one of the great wrinkles in a modern film, modern superhero film to me, is Groot donating
his arm. Yeah.
Just incredible. Dan, I can't believe you've shown me so many things that, and let me be worthy enough to lift them.
Well, you have to be worthy yourself. Clearly you are.
Wow, dude, that feels so good. Did you just walk around the house with this for like a day?
A little bit, yeah. Now, there was a superhero version of this that Chris Hemsworth used a lot that was completely metal.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I've on camera, but not in person,
my
no.
God,
But Russell Bobbitt told me all about it and how Chris liked to use that when he could because it really showed, he had to really try and hold it. His muscles were flexing.
How did they do this? Was it cast aluminum?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
But even cast aluminum is going to be incredibly, well, Chris Hemsworth is a big, strong man.
He is. And when he does these films, he works out and really gets in great shape.
It's like a pirate had sex with an angel. I don't see any reason for us to talk anymore.
All right.
This is so beautiful, man. Thank you for letting me see it up close.
I love showing you my Thor obsession. It's fun.
Actually, before we cut, I also really appreciate the differences in texture here. I had not clocked that.
And paint color as well.
Yeah, this like gunmetal and this more silvery. All of that creates this marvelous variegation. Thank you guys so much for watching. One of my favorite things we make in our tested store are demerit badges. These are like scout badges, but for screwing stuff up, because screwing up is not just a part of the making process, it is intrinsic to it, and we like to celebrate that. We've got 27 so far in the Supervisors bundle that you can go buy right now by clicking on the link in the description, but we also have a booster pack of some brand new patches. This is the demerit badge for burning off your eyebrow. I am proudly sewing that to all of my clothes. This is the demerit badge for having a messy workbench, which I do not get today. My workbench is super clean. And we have new octagonal patches that are, merit badges. This is the merit badge for sweeping up your shop. Congratulations, I'm so proud of you. And this, oh my God, this is great. This is the merit badge for creating a clean space on your bench. Hey, we got to take our successes where they come and meet them there. Go to the tested-store.com or adamsavage.com to buy any of these, or click on a link in the description.